Girl, are you making that paper? No? Come on, let's do this. I'm here to tell you 6 ways to make money as a freelancer. Oh yes, we are going to get you cash, but you gotta listen to these tips, okay? Number 1, track every single second you are working. Are you writing an email? Track that time. Are you thinking about design? Track that time. Track that time, track that time, track that time. I cannot say it enough. That means the emails you are writing, the calls you are taking. So you track your time, you write it down. You will be amazed at how long it takes to just write an email. My favorite way to track time has been through my timer app on my Apple Watch. But really, I don't care how you track your time. You can use an egg timer, you can use a timer on your phone, but just do not make the mistake of promising yourself that you will remember just by looking at your clock. Because you know what? You're not. I've been there. After working a while, you're gonna look up and wonder, wait, was I working 10 minutes or 10 hours? It has happened and it sucks. And that is one good way to lose money because you don't know how long you were working on a project if you don't properly track your time. Write it down, put it in an Excel sheet, a spreadsheet. You will be shocked at how much time it takes to do even the simplest things that could totally be billable. Number 2, have general estimates for projects ready. What do I mean by that? This kind of relates to the first point. If you've been keeping track of your time long enough, you are going to have a really good idea of how long it takes you to do certain projects. For example, I started noticing that it takes me X number of hours to do a logo, and then X number of hours to do, say, a beverage label design. Having a general idea of how long it takes you to do certain projects tells your client that A, you have experience, and B, you are a pro and you do not have time to waste. Which brings me to my next part of this same point. When providing estimates, stress the give or take part of the estimating part. What I mean is don't get locked into those definites, because when providing an estimate, you have to take in other things, other variables that can change, such as revisions and the time it takes for your client to get back to you with feedback. Those can definitely change the cost of a project. Number 3, invoice immediately, like yesterday. Invoice right away. I cannot stress this point enough. Listen, if you're not invoicing, you are not making money. And invoicing on time is even more crucial. Invoicing is an official request for money based on a contract between you and your client. Invoicing right after a project is complete, or whenever you and your client have decided that it's okay to invoice, whether it's 50% up front and the rest of it at the end, invoicing right away is important for 2 reasons. 1, you get your money faster, and 2, the value of that project is still fresh in your client's mind. If you delay an invoice, say 2 weeks or even 3 months after completion of a project, they might look at the bill and say, wait, why did it cost this amount to do that? And did we even agree to do that? They might even contest your price. And worst case scenario, they'll refuse to pay. After all that work you put in, you do not want that to happen. You may be in the right with how much it costs, but now your client has that horrible customer service experience of feeling slighted at the end of this project with you. And so when it comes time for them to need design services, they might go with somebody else who didn't leave them feeling icky at the end. And besides eroding your client's customer service experience, you're also cheating yourself out of money that you have earned and that you need right now. Here's something to think about in terms of the importance of invoicing right away. Say you invoice your client and you have a term of net 30 days. That's the number of days that they have to come up with the money to pay you. Now, you have to give them time for those net days to pass by. Of course, the most awesome clients will pay you before net 30 days is up. They do have the right to take up all that time. Most clients will pay on day 30 or even after. And the after part is what you need to cushion for. One of my clients, their policy is to have a longer net days period, which puts pressure on me to invoice on time. So, what was the last point, boys and girls? Invoice on time. Tip number 4 in making that money, invest in the clients you already have. If you already have a solid handful of amazing and loyal clients, they are your best bet for consistent income. You need to give them back that love. And you know how you could do that? Explore and see what other services that you can provide for them. For example, I have a client who I've been with for over 10 years. When I first started with her, I was doing little things like a flyer here, a postcard there. And with the rise of social media, she then trusted me to start her Facebook page and an Instagram, and now I maintain those. Those are additional services that I can charge for. More services, more money. And I had another client who needed photos taken. Oh, guess what? I could do that. More services, more money. Your clients will start to see the value in what you offer them, and they won't hesitate paying for it. It's a no-brainer. Okay, think of products or services that you don't even think twice of paying for. Is it your phone? Is it LaCroix? Yeah, it's because you find value in those things that far outweighs the cost. And you know what? You want to be that for your client. Number 5, everyone's favorite. Raise your rate. Yay! Look, every time you take a job, every time you work on a new project, you are gaining more experience and more knowledge. And your client benefits from that. You deserve to be compensated for your increased skills. When I was starting out right from school, I started at a low hourly rate, as is standard, you gotta pay your dues. Then, as I gained more confidence and more clients, I felt more confident about raising my rate. It's not just about your feelings. The market demands it. Which brings me to my next point. Number 6. However you like your 6s. Is this weird? This is weird, isn't it? Number 6, stay competitive. Oh yeah. But this time I'm talking about rate-wise. Every year, do a little bit of research about what the going rate is for a graphic designer or art director in your area with your experience. For example, a graphic designer with 5 years experience in a Phoenix suburb is probably going to have a different rate than a graphic designer in, say, New York City. If you find the amount of work you're doing isn't quite vibing with the paychecks you're getting, then it might be time to reevaluate your rate. Reevaluate your rate. That's catchy. We're coming up with all the catchphrases in this video. I love it. This can apply both to whether it's too high or too low. For example, have you ever been out shopping and then you find this awesome item and then you look at the price and then it's low, like suspiciously low? You look at it and you're like, well, why? Why is it low? What's the catch here? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the product was iffy, but if the price is in a range that just doesn't make sense for what's being offered, then it raises a red flag. And the same can happen to you and a potential client. They can look at your rate, and if it's too low, they might think there's a reason it's too low. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want them to pass you by just because your rate is too low. I have a tangible, real-world example of this happening. I had the opportunity to work on this amazing project, but it demanded a motion graphics expert. I am not a motion graphics expert. So I put the feelers out there, and then I came across one person's portfolio. His reel was excellent looking. I asked for his rate, and then when I got it, it was suspiciously low. It was the same rate that I was charging right out of school. I had to ask a fellow professional, like, whoa, what is this person's deal? Why is it so low? Is it because he's a nightmare to work with, or is he really slow with delivering assets on time? What is the deal? How can someone's portfolio look like that and then the rate being so low? It just, that could also very well not be the case. What if he's really great to work with? What if he's the best to work with? And what if his delivery of projects is phenomenal? The discrepancy between the portfolio and the rate was just too great that I didn't have the confidence to hire him. You don't want the same thing to be happening to you. So think about your own rate. Have you been swinging at bats and missing a few too many pitches? Time to look at that rate, girl. There's another part to this. I get the anxiety of raising your rate, especially on current clients. If you're nervous about raising your rate on current clients, I totally understand. I have not done that. The real trick is to seek the opportunity to raise your rate when you meet with a potential new client. That new client doesn't know how much you were charging your other clients. You have gained experience and knowledge, like I mentioned before, and you need to be compensated for that. Raise your rate, new client, new rate, right? Bottom line is, if your portfolio speaks to the quality of your work, and if you feel comfortable charging at a rate that is fair for both you and your client, everyone wins. Now, I've only been talking about what can happen if your rate is too low. Obviously, the same can happen if your rate is way too high. That's just like with anything though, right? If something is too high, pass. All right, so there's some things you have to think about if you're missing out because your rate is too high. So if you're in a situation where a potential client perceived your rate to be too high, that means the value they're placing on you doesn't match your rate. That's where the disconnect is. So you have to figure out one of three things. If they're just not educated about what the going rate for a designer is. 2, if they're just cheap. It happens, it's fine. Or 3, if they definitely know about designer rates and they're getting sticker shock from your price. At that point, then explain what they'll be getting with your services. X, Y, Z. Break down the cost. Why? Hourly, all that stuff. And if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. It happens, it's okay. I like to think of this idea the same way I think about cars. Now I know that a Tesla or a Lexus is one of the best in terms of eco-friendliness and luxury, but that's just not in my bank. That's fine. Maybe a Ford Focus is more my speed, you know? And it still works. It runs, 4 wheels, gets me from point A to point B, and it's still a solid car. The same thing can happen with you and a potential client. Sometimes a client is just willing to like, break the bank, baby, spend whatever. And other clients, they're a little more conservative, as they have every right to be. Find your fit, lock down your rate. No matter what, despite everything I'm saying, I can only speak from my own experience. You gotta go with your gut. If you know you deserve a certain rate and you're getting great clients with that rate, then go with it. Not all clients will be a good fit for you, and vice versa. Just no matter what, make sure you're getting paid. Okay? Cool. Well, that's all I've got for now. If you enjoyed this video or got something out of it, please give me one of these. And also hit that subscribe button and notifications bell as well. I'll be making more videos like these and you do not want to miss out. Also, if you have your own money-making tips for designers, please throw them down in the comments below. I want to know, and this community wants to know. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep doing the things that will make you a secret weapon for your clients. Bye!